Hey, so my guest today is Melissa. Hey, Melissa, how are you today?
I'm great, Victoria. How are you?
I'm good too. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure
Yes.
to speak with you.
Yes. So today our theme is a little bit different than the usual because usually it's more like moving abroad. But today we're talking about traveling because like you are like a travel expert and you wrote a book about traveling.
Mm.
So what makes a traveler like in your opinion?
Well, let's not give me the title travel expert. That makes me feel nervous. Um, but traveling in general, I think, people who do this, I guess some people discover it at a different time in their life, but I think you either have this spark of adventure or you don't. And if you have it, you just cannot get rid of it. So I've had many people. I'm 50 now. I've been traveling for many decades, off and on. I mean, I live a pretty regular life, but I've managed to squeeze it in, sometimes in very big chunks and sometimes just for a few weeks here and there. But sometimes people have said, "Oh, you know, you did it, so you've gotten rid of the travel bug." And I think you people are crazy. Like if you're still doing this decades later, you never get rid of the travel bug. It doesn't go away.
So wait, that almost sound like people say that it's a bad thing, getting
I
rid of the
think
travel bug.
Yeah, I think they think like you go and do it once and you're cured, like from wanderlust. And I think those are people that don't do it, because the more you do it, the more you want to see. I think as you get older, there's parts of it that are less fun. I don't like airports as much as I used
Sure.
to. I don't like packing. I hate packing. Every
Mhm.
night now before a trip, I went like I just wonder why I'm doing this, and then once I get somewhere, I know why, and I'm thrilled. But yeah, I think some people think it's just like, an itch you have to scratch and then it's over, but I disagree with that. So yeah, what makes it travel? I don't know. I think we some of us are just born with a real sense of curiosity and adventure and the unknown and wanting to meet people that are not going to come across our daily lives. So that's a big part of it. I don't even think we realize that when we sign up for a trip or book a trip. It's often, oh, I want to go see this destination. But when you come home, it's always about who came across your path on that trip. It's rarely really about the country. I mean, yes, we all have countries that we really love and are attached to, but often that's because of who we met along the way in those places.
Yeah, that's true. But when you say traveling, do you mean like you're a backpacker, you're an adventurer, you're definitely not staying in a resort?
No, I've stayed in a resort like 3 times in my entire life, and the first time I was very young, I was 22, and luckily I was in a resort that was close to a very, like, normal village where you saw real life, so I actually took advantage of that and got off the resort as much as I could. The next time I went on an all-inclusive, I cried for the first 3 days because I was like, "What am I doing here? This is not me." However, I
Mhm.
adapted, like, I do like reading books and having cocktails and getting some sleep, so I see the beauty of that, but no, that's not my scene. Yeah, I'm usually a backpacker. I like active travel, hiking, cycling, that kinda stuff, but
Mhm.
my book, there is some luxury in it because, I went traveling. So the book is called The People You Meet. Subtitle is a long one, Luxury, Leeches, Love, and Lao Lao, with a host of interesting characters in Southeast Asia. So this was like 90% backpacking, 10% luxury, because the person I was with was in the luxury travel industry and was researching hotels and travel routes in Southeast Asia. So I got to go along for the ride, but it was 90% like guest houses and roughing it and 10% luxury, which was welcome. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
so it was fun. Yeah. So this book basically just came out of that, like, emails I was sending home about the people I was meeting, places I was going. It's a very honest account of like this 4-month adventure for me.
Okay, so your book, is it especially about your Southeast Asia adventure, or is it
Yeah.
about all of your travels?
No, this book is completely about this journey. So again, this was in 2010. So there was no such thing as a cell phone back then. It was all internet cafes and finding a computer in a hotel lobby, should you be so lucky, which I know some people don't even know what I'm talking about because
Yeah,
I'm older.
I
Um,
remember.
you remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, the good old days. So, yeah, basically, these are emails that were turned into a book, and it's, yeah, just a very it's actually my itinerary through Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and China, and documents like pretty much every step of the way, and it's written in a way that the reader will feel like they are with me on the journey, that they're right beside me. So some things I've done for you, you don't have to do them. You'll be very glad because not everything is wonderful, as you know, as a traveler.
sure.
Yep. So yeah, it's just about that. It's very honest. It's very funny. You'll learn a little bit about these parts of the world, like history, geography, food, people, but mainly it's just me telling exactly what I think and feel at any given time.
Okay, can you give an example, like what is like a hard part as a backpacker?
Sure. I think, backpacking is where the stories come from. Like, as much as the luxury part was welcome at times because we were so tired and probably appreciated it more for the rest, the stories don't come from there. It's boring, you know. But yeah, backpacking is hard, right? Like, we were on the move probably every 2 days, every 3 days. So, you know what that's like when you're living, repacking your backpack, if you even bother with that after a while. In the beginning, you know where everything is. After a while, you just throw it in and go. So yeah, the hard parts are like you're sleep deprived, you're on long buses and trains, and yeah, it's just it's funny because the reason we do it is for the unknown, but the unknown can also get tiring sometimes when you want some predictability. But yeah, there's some good stories in this book, like we did a 4-day hike in, northern Laos, which was just full of leeches, like, we were being attacked by leeches and bees and very bad sleeping accommodations. Excuse me. Yes, like, things like that, you live to tell the
Mhm.
tale, and at the time, it sucks, but, kind of fun and fun afterwards. But, yeah, I was traveling with a partner from England, and we had met other people who had signed up for this, and I just remember walking through the jungle, and it was hot. It was probably May, I guess, and super, super
Uh-huh.
hot, and just seeing this guy in front of me who was Malaysian, and his legs were covered in blood because he had leeches just stuck to him, and
Oh.
yeah, and you could not escape them. I was, like, very vigilant and, like, checking myself constantly, but they were crawling up your
Uh,
legs, crawling up your walking sticks, like, everywhere.
oh,
So
that
that's
sounds
what
horrible.
yeah, it was horrible, and then there would be, like, the odd creek that you could jump in, but there were leeches in the creek, and then, like,
Hmm.
wherever we camped for the night, like, a couple times there were like thousands, it felt like, of bees, like, circling our tent. It was like from a horse it was a horror
Oh my
story.
God, but why do you remember like why
Signing
you
up for
wanted to
it.
go there? Because
I
like
know.
was there like a big a surprise in the end or like was there like a
No,
big reward or
no, it
something?
was it was all terrible. Um, I wanted to do, because 'cause I'm a pretty active person, so,
Uh-huh.
at one point on this trip, I was determined that we would do some sort of hiking trip instead of, it was like a total traveling trip. Like, every 2 days you're here, you're there, you're
Uh-huh.
taking on. But I was tired of sitting on buses and trains. I'm like, we've got to move. So we signed up for this hiking excursion in northern Laos. And when we signed the like waiver, you could tell the tour operators were kind of like snickering a little bit and like, "Mhm, like, good luck," a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
Uh-huh.
we'd had a few beers, so we probably weren't thinking very clearly. But yeah,
Sure. Oh.
they said to us was there might be a few bees. They did not tell us there would be, like, it was Leech City. So,
Uh,
yeah,
that sounds so
in
gross.
hindsight, it is really stupid why we did this. But yeah, I was on a mission to see something beautiful and to
Yeah.
go on a hike, and there was nothing beautiful. There was nothing rewarding. No. The best parts were, like, the people. So there was a guy from Malaysia, a couple nurses from Switzerland, a guy from Australia, and a German guy, I think, and then us. So again, there's that classic theme, right? That it's the people that get you through it and you're bonded to for life in an adventure like that. But no, it was horrifying, horrifying.
Oh, that's so great. I thought like, yeah, because we wanted to go to this beautiful waterfall or like something like that.
Well,
No.
that was the hope, right? The hope
Yeah.
was that there would be something because these are beautiful countries. But there was nothing. There was nothing to reward yourself with. Just the only thing that kept us going was knowing that every step we took was one step closer to getting out.
Oh, so yeah, was there a big regret?
No, you can't regret things like that, but would I do it again? Absolutely not.
No, lesson learned.
Yeah, and it makes for a really good chapter in a book, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And so, like, the people you mean more like with the people you met, like, on those kind of trips, or like, the locals, or like people like you meet for a brief minute on the bus?
Well, it could be anything, it's people like that. It's we did an amazing tour in Laos. I forget where we were and I should remember this. Oh, Fon Savin, which is where they have those plain of jars. I don't know if you've been to Southeast Asia,
Mm-mm, I
but
haven't.
yeah, so anyway, there's this very beautiful the town itself is not so beautiful, but there's this very beautiful area that has these massive, they look like massive, massive honey pots from like Winnie the Pooh with
Uh-huh.
these lids, and nobody knows why they're there. And archaeologists have one theory that it was some sort of spiritual thing, and there's a million different philosophies, but
Mhm.
really nobody knows. So we had this incredible tour guide in that town who he was a local and he was just like he was worth it to me. Like sometimes, you see things and they're beautiful and you visit landscapes and whatever, but it's those people that bring everything to life. And just spending like 10 hours with this guy was totally like it for me. So it can be anybody. It can be anybody that crosses your path, from a local to a fellow traveler to just even, random people that come in and out of your life, as you know, when you travel. We were in Cambodia, and the second that we got off the train or the bus, this awesome guy came right at us. We were in a place called Batten Bong, and I'm butchering the language, but
It's
that's how it
okay.
sounds when it's spelt in English. And his name was Bat from Battenbong, and he had this like massive permagrin like the second we got off the bus, and was like, how could you deny a tour with this guy? He just oozed personality and energy and fun. So we spent a day with him. Like, we went to his house and his wife taught us how to cook, and he put us on this crazy bamboo train that, again, it's lucky that we survived that too. But yeah, it's just these people just show up, and you put your faith into them and they're usually worth it. But yeah, a smile and a little personality goes a long way, when you're doing things like this.
Yeah, yeah, especially like you don't know what you're doing, I
Nope.
guess, right?
You don't know what you're doing, and it's so funny, we put our faith into complete strangers in a way that we would never do that in our own personal lives.
Right, that is correct, yes.
Yeah, and I have jumped into the back seat of many cars in my travels, of strange men, usually.
You would never
Um,
do this at home?
Not in a million years, not even in my home city. I would never do it. But there you're like, what's the worst that could happen? And and
Sure.
and luckily, so far, I'll knock on wood, nothing's happened. But yeah, I mean, we just that's part of the fun, right? Is you go and you kind of abandon rules and risks and safety to a certain level. I mean, I'm not that
Mhm.
crazy, but isn't it funny how we're willing to do that in our own countries? We're much more bounded by guidelines and rules and.
Yeah, yeah. Would you think that is true for everybody?
No. I think it's also, the most times I have jumped into the backseat of a stranger's car, I was not alone. I wouldn't do it by
I
myself.
bet, yes.
So, I was traveling with a partner, a male partner, and there's a level of safety to that. Although we did do that once in China, and we both were led to believe that we were going to be murdered.
Oh,
And we
no.
weren't, so it doesn't always matter who you're with. But,
Yeah.
yeah, that part to me is very interesting, the level of confidence we have in strangers is astounding.
Yeah. Do you think like when you're traveling, especially to Southeast Asia, I think like I don't know, I don't want to like judge you, but I would just assume that you don't speak the language and they don't speak fluent English. So,
You have
would you
judged
think that
correctly.
would you think that's why like a smile is like the only way to communicate with strangers that they want to help you out?
Yeah, often. I mean, actually, that's a really interesting point because I interviewed a person on my podcast and he wrote a book called The Power of Saying Hello. And his message to the world is that, and so I'll give you a background. He rode his bicycle, and not a good bicycle, a crappy bicycle, home from China to Canada. Obviously, there was one plane involved in that,
Yeah.
but he rode through about 42 countries. Some of the
Wow.
countries were places like Afghanistan and places like this.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And the point of his story was the power of saying hello. And he said, the second you smiled and said hello to somebody, everything changed.
Okay,
They're
because you
willing.
don't seem like a threat anymore. It's like, okay, this is seems to be a nice person saying hi.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I've been doing a lot of book tours lately with my book and going to festivals and things like that.
Mhm.
And you watch people come by and most people are frowning until you say, "Hello, how are you?" and you smile and then all of a sudden their face lights up and they completely change.
Yeah.
Because we're all walking around with stuff, it is what it is. I do the same, but as soon as someone catches you and acknowledges you, they become much nicer, happier, more open people. And so that was the point of his book, that just by saying hello to everybody afforded him sleeping at their house sometimes, having them feed him, having them help him, because that was not an easy journey. Clearly, it took him over 2 years. Um,
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and he said, the kindest, most generous people were some in what is known as the scariest countries to us due to media,
Mhm.
or the places where people have the least were, offered him the most. So, yes, in terms of my own experience, yeah, I think it is that, we all carry a certain body language. So when you travel, you have to also be savvy because not everyone is out there to help you. But so there's a bit of intuition that comes
Yeah.
with this. But certainly, yeah, being open, being friendly, being, smiling does
Mhm.
change. It changes
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Is this also how you would say like you would find friends like while you travel or like I mean friends at that moment?
It depends. It depends, like, where I'm at in my journey. So, I have done a lot of group travel, which I actually love. So I'll go by myself, and then you end up with like 10 or 11 strangers.
Mhm.
And for me, I'm a pretty intuitive person, so I'm immediately sussing out who my people are within that group because you're
Uh-huh.
not going to like everybody.
No, of course not.
No. So that's kind of how I work, and then, if I'm on my own, like, complete solo travel, that's very different, you are a little bit as a woman, a little bit more guarded and, seeing who comes across your path, and, I can have a few more defenses up in that regard. And sometimes I don't really wanna talk to people. Sometimes it's just kinda nice to, like, do your own thing and not want someone to interrupt your plans or, so I think it depends, what kind of where you're at, what kind of place you're in, etcetera, but I do really love meeting people on the road. I think that there is a very unique relationship that you form
Mhm.
very quickly. If you click, I mean, the thing is when you're on the road or traveling in any capacity, especially in adventure travel or active travel, you are meeting like-minded people immediately. So that
Yeah.
kind of changes the playing field, like you don't have to
Mhm.
explain yourself. They kind of know you in a way that even people in your home life don't know you, because you share this sense of wonderlust, less sense of
Yeah.
adventure. And that can lead to very interesting, open conversations, that we don't really have at home. That could be because we know we'll never see them again. That could be because there's an instant like understanding and camaraderie. And I think it's also because you let people in of all shapes and sizes and ages and walks of life that we might not do that in our regular life. We
Yeah,
have
that's true.
less judgment on the road. So
Mhm.
I love all of that stuff. I find that as fascinating as the actual trips.
Do you think, like, in the last 10, 15 years, like, finding or like making connections when you travel changed?
Yes. I think that the internet has been good and bad. So I think back in the day, you wouldn't go to a hostel or anywhere and see people on their phones. They didn't have phones.
Yeah,
So they had to talk to each other more. Oh my, sorry, my microphone almost fell on the floor.
it's
Um,
okay.
so yeah, so there was a bit more of that. I think also now for young people, they don't know that. All they know now is you can meet somebody on a hostel app like 3 weeks before you even get there, and
Ah, oh,
say,
I did not know that.
yeah, who will be
Yeah.
here on this date, and that is good and bad, I think.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
strange, right? I think, but I think the amazing things are, yeah, it's safer, you don't get lost as much, like, especially for women, there's something
Mhm.
beautiful about, having a GPS and all that kind of fun
Yeah,
stuff.
that is definitely
Oh,
helpful.
it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think sometimes it's quite sad, for me, I love bus travel. I love looking out the window. That's better than TV, and I find it very sad when you look around and people are
And that
watching
just
movies, yeah, on their
yeah.
phone and
Yes, they don't see anything
no.
of the nature what they actually came to see.
Yeah, and, I did a hike in not the Dolomites, although I have done that too, but I was in Mont Blanc, France,
Uh-huh.
Italy, Switzerland. I don't know if you've done that, but I remember, and this was, like, probably, oh my gosh, 10, 12 years ago,
Yeah.
and people did have phones at that point, and, we were in Italy, in the middle of nowhere, in this beautiful refugio for lunch, overlooking the most beautiful scenery, and there was Wi-Fi there, and people were just,
Mm.
like, on their phones the whole time.
It's so sad,
It's
isn't
so
it?
sad. It's sad for
Yeah.
so many reasons. One, like, you're not looking around you, and two, um, when you do trips like that in a group, you're with them for a week or 2 weeks or sometimes 3, but, you know, what you like the people or you don't, it's gonna end in a matter of days, and that,
Yeah.
like, time you could have still talking and connecting is lost if you're on your phone, so
Yeah,
that part's kinda
exactly.
sad. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like, for one, I think, like, you're missing out on the scenery, then you also miss out on having a nice conversation. It's healthy.
Mhm.
But then also, like, you lock yourself completely off everything, like, you are not approachable to anybody else either. So, I feel like
Yeah.
this is not helpful for the other people either.
No, I remember I was the only one that wasn't on the phone, and I was like, "Oh, I'm, like, alone. I'm lonely, actually."
Yeah, exactly, because, like,
Yeah.
everybody is busy online.
Yeah, and you get transported back to, like, your regular life, the second you're looking at text messages and whatever, you're no longer in the moment, and that's quite sad, I think.
Yeah, no. Did you notice this, like, especially within, like, younger people, or also, like, your age group?
I notice it more with younger people, but you know what? Older people do it too. I was just on a hiking trip with like 69-year-olds and some were 73 actually, and that I didn't know that's where I would end up, but they were pretty awesome and super fit. But
Mhm.
it's the same, it's an addiction, right? Everyone's
Yeah,
addicted now. So
yeah,
I don't think it's any age group in
yeah,
particular
that's
at
true.
this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you, like, did the traveling change your personal growth?
I think that's a funny, interesting question because I feel like a lot of people feel that traveling gives you like epiphany after epiphany, and and then you become a different person. And I don't know if that's ever happened to me. I feel like you have a certain awareness of who you are in certain moments when you're on the
Mhm.
road, especially if you're on your own. There can be some really beautiful times when you just rejoice and celebrate in being completely by yourself in certain situations, and
Mhm.
then other times that can be not so fun. Um, so I think you learn things about yourself along the way as you go, and you do take that stuff home with you, for the next time that you go out. But I think the thing that maybe is the biggest for me is that I do live a pretty normal life when I'm not traveling, and I find after a few months it's very hard, like the routine, the structure, the that is a struggle. So I do know that I have to do it every few months to
Do
sort of
you do
appreciate
you
that.
have do you have like something that keeps you going, like something to look forward to, kinda?
Always, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you can also fall into a trap where you rely on travel and adventure to satiate that, and that you also have to look in your own backyard and what's in your toolbox in a regular life to it can't just be that. I think there is some balance because it's funny too that when you're away for a long period of time, you start craving normalcy and some sort of
Mhm.
structure, right? So
Yeah.
for me, there's always a bit of a dialogue and a dance and a conversation between the 2 as to where I'm at and knowing that I appreciate both and have to sort of find a normalcy in both. I don't know. It's an interesting thing when, you keep being drawn to, like, going away.
Yeah. What about like adapting to the cultures?
Mm. I think that's interesting. It depends where you go, you know? I think you can feel a natural sense of belonging and attachment to certain countries and you have no idea why. So for me, if I go to Mexico, Central America, South America, the instant that I land, I feel, and my Spanish is not great, so it's not like I'm just like yakking it up with the locals,
Uh-huh.
although I try. There's an innate sense of belonging, of being comfortable, of understanding how it goes. I don't look
Uh-huh.
like I belong in any of those places, but I feel very at home. Whereas in Southeast Asia, where this book takes place, I did not feel like that. So while I thought it was very beautiful and I liked the people and I liked the food, I did not have the same, like,
I
this is my
see.
place.
Uh-huh.
So I think that adapting to a country or a culture has a lot to do with how comfortable you feel there. Sometimes you feel like you're just a visitor, and sometimes you feel like you maybe have spent time there in another world, I don't know, or that you're meant to come back, or there's just some
Yeah.
sort of connection, you know? So I think that's huge. For me, it's also I speak a little bit of French, so if you go to a French speaking place, it's a different experience, when you can
Mhm.
communicate, and I love that. Spanish, I can a little bit get by, but I should speak better after all the Spanish countries I've been to. But language certainly is a huge factor, in your
Yeah.
level of integrating into a place.
Yeah. Do you think that when you are in Southeast Asia, um, like you always feel like it is an adventure because you don't feel so much at home?
Yes,
Yes.
certainly. Yes, and I mean, also, I live in the Americas, right? So even if you're in Central America and South America, there is some sort of familiarity. Even though Latino culture is very different than mine, you're still
Mhm.
in the same part of the world in some
Yeah.
capacity, you know?
Yeah.
But in Asia, it's completely different. So, yeah, I think that that part is, very interesting and yes, more unpredictable in
Yeah.
Southeast Asia, and the people are very different, I loved Cambodians, that was my favorite country on this trip. I felt they were very kind and resilient. They have a terrible, terrible history. Terrible things have happened to them, but they are kind of magical and very friendly and very funny. So that I have felt they made a very large impact on me, whereas I didn't necessarily find that in the other countries.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, right? And that's just me. That's just like how it was for me.
Right. Did you take home some of those habits that you experienced?
What kind of habits do you mean?
Like cultural habits or like some whatever the way how they made their coffee or
Oh, yes, I see.
like something like that.
I don't think I did from this trip to Southeast Asia, but it's funny you said that because last December I was in Colombia and they have this awesome ritual on December 7th of every year. And I'm going to start doing that, which is that they go out, everyone goes out on the street, no matter what city or town you're in, and they take these beautiful, they're like cheap colorful candles.
Uh-huh.
And everyone is out, you light them up, and when you light yours up, you think about all the things you want to get rid of, like, in your life that are bothering you, and you
Mhm.
welcome in all the beautiful new things or new goals or new wishes that you have for yourself.
Uh-huh.
And then everyone, lights these candles just line the streets. And I thought that was really beautiful, a really cool thing to do. And sadly, like in Canada and Toronto, that would never fly because we're very boring. So no city or town would let anyone get away with that. But that's another example, right, of how people live differently. They have
Yeah.
different, beliefs around safety and all that jazz. So that's something that I will do in my own way this December 7th because I thought it was just awesome. So
So
often it's little things like that, you know?
yeah, 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 exactly. But so you would just do like a one little candle or would you light up, I don't know. You cannot probably light up your whole street.
I can't light 'em, but yeah, I might do a few, but yeah, the beauty of it was that everybody was out. So I did this
Uh-huh.
in, Cartagena, and so all the streets and everyone was out of their house and
Yeah.
celebrating and talking and laughing, and so that won't happen here, but I'll figure out a way to do it myself, my own way. But yeah, those are the things, I think that we learn a lot from cultures like that, that North Americans are very isolated people. We live on our own often or with our partner or our families, whatever. But
Mhm.
these cultures are with, intergenerational, everybody's helping everybody. There's something very beautiful about how many people are involved in their lives
Yeah.
compared to how we function. So that I always that's what I always take away from most of these places where maybe they have a little bit less, but they know a hell of a lot more than we do about how to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So,
Do
yeah.
you travel a lot for Christmas or like in the holiday season?
So last year I was in Colombia for a lot of December. I was home for Christmas, but I was there leading up to it, which was really fun. I love Christmas, so at first I was like, "Oh, I miss the snow," but Colombians go crazy for Christmas. They love
Uh-huh.
it. It's like Christmas on steroids. So going to, like, all these different, villages and towns and seeing, like, to the extent that they put up, Christmas, like, decorations was quite something. They really, really love it. So that was fun. My favorite place, for Christmas, and last year I was in one year I was in Mexico as well at Christmas, which I do struggle, though, not seeing snow. But my favorite place is,
Mhm.
London, and I'm sure you're from Germany, so I'm sure they do beautiful Christmas markets there too.
Yeah, but I haven't been to a Christmas market in England.
No? Well, London in itself in general, like, yeah, and England is, like, to me, a magical place at Christmas. It's so
Huh,
beautiful.
okay.
Yeah, and also I got to go to, a couple years ago, I went to Manhattan, to New York City. They also do Christmas very, very well there. It was very exciting, so
Mm,
that's kind of fun, actually. Christmas travel is kinda like, different and interesting around the world, you know?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, because I think, by the time this episode will come out, like, it will be Christmas time or it will be at least December.
Yeah,
So
nice.
So maybe give some inspiration to some people who are thinking about yeah, traveling at that time.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see, and maybe you don't want to be there exactly on the day. Who knows how people celebrate that day, but certainly the season is
Hmm.
treated very differently around the world. And if you're into Christmas, it can be really fun. Quebec City in Canada is another really beautiful place at Christmas time. It's quite European there, and they also go nuts with like lights and
Uh-huh.
decorations, and it's always snowing. And yeah, so if that's your thing, there's certainly lots of places to do that.
What about New Year's?
New Year's, have I spent many New Year's away? I can't remember. Certainly I've been in London for New Year's, but I don't know if I've ever been in a really interesting place for New Year's, so I might have to work on that one.
Okay, so maybe like for next time.
Maybe you've given me something to think about.
Yeah. All right, and I also just wanted to mention your podcast.
Yes. So, my show is called Fly Travel Radio. It started off as a radio show, at a community radio station at the University of Toronto. So I started that, I think it was in 20, oh my goodness, I don't know, maybe 2015 or something like that.
Hmm.
So I did it for about 5 or 6 years, and I loved it. I met lots of awesome people. It was a great thing to do when I didn't really have the opportunity to travel a lot, so I met lots of interesting people. Sadly, it's on hiatus at the moment because I have too many other things going on, but I have about 180 episodes, and so if anyone wants to hear them, you can find them on SoundCloud. It's called Fly Travel Radio with Melissa Rodway, or it's on my website as well, which is flyrodway.com. But yeah, I loved it. I met fascinating people, as I'm sure you are as well. And it's quite a really cool community that you can build from those things.
Yeah. I mean, also that person you just mentioned who rode this bike from China to Canada.
Yeah, I mean, the most of my stories, they were not all like that, but many. I interviewed a guy, also Canadian guy, who walked literally across Africa for over 2 years. Yeah, there's another woman on there. She's actually really doing quite well right now, and you can find her. Her name is Elise Wortley, but she goes by Woman with Altitude, and she's so fascinating. She recreates the hikes of female adventurers that nobody really knows about and talks about from like centuries ago, because
Uh-huh.
we don't, it's all about the men, right? We all
Right,
hear
right,
about
yes.
men, but there's a lot of women that did some pretty interesting things. So she will say it's somebody from like 1835 or 1910 or whatever it is. She will research what they wore for these what for the hike or whatever it is they were doing. She sources the clothes through eBay or whatever it is, and
Ah, the whole thing.
yes. So she
Oh,
does not
wow.
wear any modern equipment, no, like, she'll sleep under a tarp, she'll wear very
Sure. Oh, wow.
uncomfortable boots and, like, even, like, bras and underwear that comes from that time, like, she will not budge on anything
Oh, that's
that
crazy.
yeah, and then she does, like, if not all of the hike, a portion of it. It's fascinating,
Oh, wow. I
fascinating.
mean, but that's like also like a whole thing just to prepare for that,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
it's
I mean,
huge.
like the research and then how to get all this.
Yes. Yes, she has, like, a team that helps her, but,
Mhm.
it's quite something. So, those are some of the stories that,
Oh, that's
on
super
my
interesting.
show. Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it makes me feel like I have done nothing when you meet people like that.
But like you did too, but I mean, there are always like some extreme versions,
Yeah,
you
these are
know?
extreme versions. So, I'm like the normal person that does a few things, you know?
Just to okay, so, we're coming almost to an end, but, let's say again the title of your book and where you can buy it.
Yes, so the easiest title is "The People You Meet" by Melissa Rodway. Because when I finished publishing it, I realized there was more than one book with that title. So make sure you look
Mm.
for the one with my name, or you can also make sure it has the subtitle "Luxury Leeches, Love in Lao Lao" with a host of interesting characters in Southeast Asia. The best place to find that is on Amazon, of course. And then if people are interested, my Instagram is fly_travel_media. And my website is flyrodway.com, and that's Rodway. So there you go.
All right, and I'll make sure that everything is listed in the show notes so the listeners can just go and look in the show notes and then they will find you there.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
I enjoyed
Victoria.
it.
Me too. It was a great conversation. Thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
think so too. Yeah, thank you.
All right.